coming to you today with a squad builder based on the card Lone Wolf. I love this card, but it's very difficult to use, so I am going to do a builder based on it. Now, one of the things I like to do with this guy a lot is use Luke Skywalker, and I'm using my alternate art Luke here, but see, I like cards that have built-in abilities that don't require an action. Lone Wolf is one of those. Luke Skywalker also has one of those. So what I was doing for a while is I was doing experimental interface and R2F2. So basically with Luke, I could take a focus and then stress myself with experimental interface and then also activate R2F2. I'd have 3 agility and a focus. I get a free reroll for any blanks, and then if I happen to roll 2 evades and a focus symbol, I can use Luke's ability to automatically make that happen as many times as I get attacked. So if I do a build with a couple of small ships over here and then Luke over here, if they go for Luke, Luke's got a lot of innate survivability. Because it's not like a stealth device. He gets hit once, he loses that 3rd agility. He would keep it every turn. Stress isn't that big of a deal for an X-wing, especially if I'm flying him from the side or whatever. But this is it's been all right. The only problem I've had is Lone Wolf's really hard to do within more than 2 ships, because you're always going to end up eventually getting into within range 1. So I've had it work I've had it only really trigger 1 time, and so it's. But I'm going to try and do something different with Lone Wolf today. I'm going to try and do a Fat Han build with Lone Wolf. So I could do any of the Falcons, but the idea is I'm doing a very defensive Han. I'm playing in an Escalation tournament. It's a special Escalation. It's not the 4 rounds. It's only a 3 rounds. So the points are 60, 100, and 150. So it's a modified Escalation tournament. But I want to do Han with Lone Wolf. And most of his abilities, Han's usually an offensive pilot, but I'm going to have his stuff be defensive, because obviously I'm going to do 3PO. I'm going to do Lando, which actually works pretty well with C-3PO, because basically I can guess Lando. All right, I'm going to trigger Lando, and I'm going to roll 2 defense dice, and I'll say, all right, I guess 0 evades with C-3PO, and look at that, I got 0 evades, so I get a free evade. All right. Now the good thing about that is this way, when I'm attacked, if I roll an evade, I also get the evade from earlier that came from 3PO, so I end up getting 2 evades that way. Whereas if I just use 3PO by himself, you attack me, I get 0, and boom, I roll that same 1 evade, well then I just get the 1 evade. So this way I can get an extra evade out of 3PO this way. And then if I guess 0 with Lando and I roll, let's say I roll a focus, or let's say I roll 2 focuses. I still get the 1 evade, 2 focuses. I could use 1 for attack, 1 for defense. There's a lot of abilities here, but it really comes together when I take that card from the Luke build, experimental interface, and throw on the Millennium Falcon title. So the idea here with this build, or this Han, is that I go up. Let me get the tokens just to spell it out here. All right, I move. I take my action. I use the Millennium Falcon to take the evade action. He's got 1 evade token. I trigger experimental interface. I'll take a stress after this, and I'm activating Lando. So I'll roll 2 dice, or I guess 0 with 3PO, right? In this case, I rolled a focus and a blank. Now, being that I guessed 0 evades and I got 0 evades, I'll get a free evade added to that roll, so then I have 2 evades and a focus now. Whoops. So 2 evades and a focus. And now you attack me, boom. All right, I rolled a blank. Well, that's no problem. I got 2 evades, right? Or I roll a focus, no problem. I spend the focus and then 2 evades. So I can absorb 3 hits this way, as opposed to 3PO only being able to absorb the 1 hit. So 3 hit absorbs a turn. I can absorb more than 3 hits even. Let's say I want to go crazy and guess 1 evade with 3PO, and then I use trigger Lando's ability. Well, look at that. I just got it. 1 evade and 1 focus. So I'll actually get 2 evades. So I have my 1 from the Falcon. I'll get a 2nd evade and a 3rd evade. So 2 from that. and then a focus. Now I've got 3 evades and a focus, and I still get my defense die, which could be a focus. I spend that. I can actually block 4 hits. That's a range 1 decimator attack, you know? So, and that's that's why I'm going with this build. I was thinking of going with, you know, a couple of Z95s, like 4 Z95s, to start out an Escalation tournament, because Wave 5 just came out. A lot of people want to fly Decimators right now. I think Decimator's like the most popular ship. And so I think 4 ships are going up against the Decimator in round 1 is going to be, you know, a real weakness for the Decimator. But, and that's the one thing, like, and if I go up against that, I can absorb a ridiculous amount of hits this way. Because not only will I be blocking up to 4 dice, you know, I could, you know, roll this each time. If you only score 1 hit on me and I roll an evade, then I don't even have to use one of these. So I'm just incredibly fat. And I could make this even fatter if I made it Chewie instead of Han. But the reason I left it Han is because I do want some offense. So in the first round, Lone Wolf is going to trigger every time because I'll be the only ship on the board. Because this right here is 58 points. So in the first round, I'll be able to, you know, obviously I'm going to have a decent offense. I can use Han's ability. I'll probably have focuses left over from Lando. If I'm not in their arc, especially because I'm moving last as Han being pilot skill 9, if I'm, you know, if I don't need to be defensive because they don't have arc on me, then I can target lock them, or I can just straight up focus, and I don't even have to get stressed with experimental interface. And then of course I got Lone Wolf and Han, so I can either re-roll 1 die or all dice, you know. So it's, you know, it's very good. And then also Lone Wolf works for the defense. I think this is probably the best, like, you know, coming in at under 60-point builds that you can have, especially with the meta as it is right now, especially since I'm expecting to go up against a Decimator in the first round, or maybe even a Decimator and Howl Runner. You know, it's possible. All right, so the rest of the build, 58 points, works great with a classic double rookie pilot X-Wing, because at 58, this will bring me right up to 100. Now, this would be, I could have gone with 3 Z95s instead of 2 X-Wings, and I really thought about that, but I'm not doing that because I wanted to have more attack dice. People also kind of think that X-Wings are overrated right now, but I've never actually flown the traditional Fat Han with 2 X-Wings, the old school list, so I'm doing that. This brings me exactly to 100 points. I'd also rather have, you know, 2 ships with 3 dice than 3 ships with 2 dice for offense. So, and I can, and the only problem is with this build, I'm not going to be able to have them be wingmen. I'll have to set 2 ships up over on one side of the map and then the Falcon on the other side of the map. And I'll take these ships real slow. Eventually they're going to be within range, but if they blow up the X-Wings, no problem. Lone Wolf kicks in again, and Han's going to be victorious. Because when he's by himself, he's going to be unstoppable. So there's that. Now, the last part of this Escalation tournament is a 150-point build. So if I'm going Rebels for Escalation, I need to have some support. And Rebels really excel at support. So I could throw in an HWK with Kyle Katarn, or even Jan, which would, you know, both of those would be fantastic. But I don't want to do that, at least with Han, because I want to keep him away. But he'd be good for the other guys, right? Biggs would be great for the other guys. If I have Biggs flying with the X-Wings, you know, he's going to protect them. They've got to shoot him first. That's always good. Some other support characters. Aaron Kraken is a good support character. And but I'm going with my favorite one, who's Etana Bot. So Etana Bot is, I think, excels the most for a large build, because you're going to have the most ships on the board, and everyone that he can see, everyone that he can shoot, rather, they're also going to be able to shoot. And get the bonus for it. So I'm tossing in Etana Bot, and then that gives me just enough points for a Bandit Squadron, and I think, let me do the math here. I'm using my Imidar Alpha. Because if I'm not going to use a support ship, then I might as well just go Imperial and go Decimators, or Bounty Hunters and Decimators. And Imperials have some support now, too. Like a Decimator with Mara Jade and and like the rebel captive on it or something like that would be just ridiculous, or you know, and that's what I'm afraid of going up against, and that's kind of why I built this Han the way I did. So let's see, I'm at 100 points plus 32. It makes me at 132 plus 12. All right, so I got some room. I've got 6 points available. So I'm gonna upgrade some stuff. I'm probably not gonna upgrade these guys, and I'm not gonna upgrade I could put a missile on him. Actually, I could do an assault missile with munitions fail-safe. But I have a feeling, especially if I fly these 4 together and then Han on the side, that they're gonna go after Itanabot first. So what I need to do is I probably want to defend him. So I'm gonna throw a stealth device on him, and that gives me 3. And I can, you know, you can kind of spend the 3 however you want. I think I'll go with Veteran Instincts and Fire Control Systems on Itanabot. So this way he's got a little extra built-in. You know, he can afford to take the evade, and he's still going to get, you know, target locks. And then he's going to shoot as a 7 instead of a 5. So that's the video. You know, 150 points, 60, 100, 150.